Recalculating Route, a show about taking a new direction with your life. Here's your host, Kaelysia Atwood.
Guess what, y'all? It's 6 o'clock on the dot. Yes, I'm getting better at that. It is 6 o'clock on the dot. It is Wednesday. This is Louisiana. This must be Recalculating Route. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hey.
Oh, I am so excited today. This wonderful group, this group that is my true therapy group is here, and we're going to be talking about stepping out of your comfort zone. You know, it's one of those things that we all need to do now and then, but we get really comfortable. And like right now, we've all gotten so comfortable because we're inside our houses, and just the idea of going out that door seems scary to me. So it is a time to start thinking about stepping out of our comfort zone. So my wonderful guests are here to talk with us today. We're going to talk about some of the times we've stepped out of comfort zones, how that worked for us, things we learned, what went right, what went wrong, that kind of stuff, and maybe give you some ideas for your comfort zone and how to push the edge out of it a little bit. So my guests today are Barnaba, Marya Grayson, Kaelysia Cooper, and Kymberlie Broussard, and you could not have a better group to step out of your comfort zone with. So how about we get started talking about this topic and see if we can help some folks out there today and give them some ideas. Kaelysia, you were kind enough to say that you would step up and start this thing off. How about it?
Well, isn't that what it's about? Stepping outside your comfort zone, stepping up first, right?
There you go.
Thank you, Christy, for having me on your podcast once again. I don't know why you keep inviting me. I know, but I don't know. But I appreciate you having me here to just get to talk with friends. It's nice. It's been a while. I'm going to enjoy it. And I am the founder of Empowered Coaching. It is a professional executive coaching service, and I coach everyday people that are really looking to make that next step in their careers. I also really focus on the mindset and how our minds can be transformed to help us get a little bit closer to feeling comfortable taking that step. And so I'm excited to be here today talking about stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Awesome.
Nathan.
My name is Barnaba. I've been a part of this show for a few episodes, and I'm really enjoying it. I will say that I'm out of my comfort zone, and I was forced by Kim, but I'm really enjoying these episodes, and I'm excited to be with y'all. Y'all are like some great friends, and I love everyone's input, and these sessions are really helpful.
We love it. How about you, Marya?
Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Marya Grayson. This is my first time being a part of this wonderful panel. I'm so happy that Christy invited me to join in this evening. I'm looking forward to our conversation and what is to come.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you agreed. And I'm so glad that we call you Marya, even though that Kim person keeps calling you Mary A. You know that's not how your name is said. So, okay. And now finally, last but so not least, Kymberlie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kymberlie, and I too, like Nathan, have been here on a couple of episodes. And the reason that I'm on this particular episode is because I'm a professional pusher. So if you need any assistance with being pushed out of your comfort zone, please message Christy. She knows how to get into contact with you. And we'll talk pricing at a later time.
Let's remember that professional pusher. This is not the kind you might be thinking about, okay? That's not
You're
that
right.
kind of pusher.
I said professional pusher who pushes you out of your comfort zone.
There you go. Okay. I
Was waiting on the edge.
Facebook's about to flag us right there. I was going to be in Facebook jail.
Facebook's going to shut it down.
Yeah. Wording is really important. Words. Yeah. Okay.
Words matter.
They do.
They do.
In this cancel culture, you got to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on cancel culture. It's just a scary thing. I'm surprised I have not been canceled so many times already. I just don't think words come out of my mouth.
I mean, Kim's been canceled plenty of times, so she just takes it all for us.
This is true.
There's that.
Is that the goal? Is the goal to be canceled?
No, that's usually my cancel pose.
Okay. See, I'm already getting all giddy because this is exactly what we need midweek. when we've been going through all the stuff we go through during the week, and we need something fun to cut up with. But we also do need something to get us out of our comfort zone from time to time. It is so easy just to sit back and say, things are going good, everything's fine. I don't need to change anything. And maybe you don't need to change anything. That's okay too. But it doesn't hurt to think about those things that you've always dreamed about way, way back here and think, what would be different if I took a step towards that? What would be different if I tried one little piece of that today and saw how it felt? If I wanted to be, if I wanted to be an actor, well, what would be so bad if I checked out a book from the library that had acting scenes and practiced on my own and just played with some scenes? So it's the comfort zone. You could push it a little bit, or you could totally jump out the window of it. It depends on what you want to do. I want to hear some of y'all's things anytime that y'all have pushed your comfort zone. Who wants to give me an idea on that?
I mean, I can. What pushed me out of my comfort zone was actually your show. Just speaking from about my experiences and I guess shooting from the hip, if you will. Am I allowed to say that? Is that going to get canceled too? Never mind. So, okay. So, yeah, just having that conversation and not being afraid of people watching or, saying the wrong thing, or just being comfortable with friends and being brave. I mean, that's basically what this show helped me be brave and face, the part of my fears.
That is awesome. And, it's so funny because there's that side of us that's thinking, oh, everybody's watching for me to make a mistake or something. I don't think that's really the case. I think people are a lot more supportive than we realize. And they want things to do well. They want people to do well. And if we keep that in mind, it really does make it a lot easier to take these kind of steps.
Yeah, that's a good point, Christy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, jump in. We can talk at the same time. No,
I was going to just add, I think that's one of the many factors that helps you get out of your comfort zone is to have that support from people, just having that comfort zone for people to say, it's okay, like, why don't you try this? Like, being that supportive piece, that gives you a lot of encouragement, or at least it did for me in my case, that really was like, okay, let me try this. Maybe it's not so bad after all.
What sort of thing did you try, Marya?
I recently tried at work, actually. Someone had a great idea to do a book club, even though we're still virtual. We decided to get together and do a book club. And I'm not an avid reader. It's just not really my thing. And I was like, you know what? There's a lot of great people in this group. The book seems interesting. Let me give it a try and see what happens. So we started reading this great book, which is Own Your Career, Own Your Life by Andy Storch. And it's really great tips and great advice. It's a quick read. It really makes you start thinking about things and how to be intentional in your career and how that can also transfer over to your life. And just by getting involved, I feel more comfortable with my coworkers. It's given me some encouragement to speak up because I'm typically an extrovert until I really get to know people. And then, personally, it's had me change some ways in my personal life to start being really knowing what I'm doing and trying to make the right steps and being on a change path of how I did things before to try to get me going in the right directions on some things.
Sounds like you're a lot more proactive in what you're doing now, huh?
Say that. Yeah, that's something I was probably looking for that I couldn't think of. But yes, proactive is what I'm gonna say.
You'll buy a vowel on that one.
Intentional. That's the word I was thinking.
Intentional.
Intentional.
Yes. You know what?
I was like, there's a word. It was that word, intentional. Yes.
Words are hard sometimes. But no, that is a really good point, because how many times do we just go where life pushes us? Or, okay, well, there's something I could do. I'll go do that. We don't really make that intentional decision, that choice, and say, This is what I want to do. I'm going to go this way. Instead, somebody comes to us and says, hey, you have a chance here. You can move up into this position. We're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, making the decision on our own. That's big. Thank you, Marya. Excellent and intentional. That'll be our word for the afternoon. Okay. What else do we got? Kaelysia, you want to add something?
Sure. So my big thing, when I stepped outside of my comfort zone, was actually last year when I decided to start a coaching business. And it was, not really too far after the pandemic had locked everyone up. And there was a lot of, just racial injustice and just a lot of hard feelings. And I found a lot of peace in coaching. I was in a coaching program myself and was able to work with clients and also be the client, and going through that experience process really helped me to figure out something I was passionate about, and so passionate enough that I wanted to make it my own. I really wanted to do it in a way that I felt more connected to it and connected to the people that I was working with. And so I decided that, it is not as hard as I'm making it seem, that, all these expectations that I'm setting for myself before I start a business, I need to do, and there's this laundry list of things. I didn't ignore it, but I set it as like long distant goals, and I changed what my short-term goals were. And so the first thing was really, what is the name? What is the name of it? Okay, now I have a name. Now let's file this. And so it was like, once I started like making very small, I won't say they're baby steps, but they were small steps in a larger goal, then it felt a lot less scary. It was a lot less overwhelming. And I felt like I could at least make progress. Not that I was an expert, not that I was like, I am so familiar with this now, but I was like, I at least know a couple steps more than what I did just a few months before.
Awesome. And, that's such a good point, because here you started it during a pandemic. There's one excuse not to do it. There's probably about 500 other excuses you could have used to say, no, it's not the right time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, what is the right time? So it's really sitting down and talking about, what am I expecting? And is that expectation something that I could obtain even when I have 50 years of experience in what I'm looking to do? Probably not.
Wow. So you weighed the pros and cons. You said, I can do this. You stepped into it and you made it happen.
Yep. It was really a shift of, instead of thinking and planning in this way, I'm going to do it a little bit differently.
And that's something that we could all take as a lesson, is just, the tennis shoe told us, just do it. But we just weren't listening real hard on that one. So there are times when we really need to just go ahead and put all of that on the back burner and say, yes, I have all these excuses not to do it, but now I'm realizing it's my passion. It's something I want to do. It's something I believe in. Forget it. I'm going to go for it. Forget all that stuff back there.
Yeah, exactly.
What I love about what you said is taking baby steps, setting those small steps.
We call them baby steps, but to us, they're really big leaps. Like, to other people, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. Just do this. But to us, it still feels like a lot. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel like, there's a heavy burden, and we wouldn't, get all anxious and start sweating when we think about it. It really is a big step. It's not a baby step, but it is a smaller step in comparison to where we're trying to go.
Right.
It is funny that, you have that thing. It's like, okay, just get a domain name, it sounds so small. Oh, that's no big deal. No, you got to kvetch over this thing for a long time. Okay, is it going to be .com? Is it going to be .net? Oh, it's going to be .org? Is it going to be, oh, wait, what am I going to use? Am I going to do a cutesy spelling, or am I going to do something?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, those little bitty things get huge.
Yep.
Jump in. Give it a try.
Yeah. So it's important to acknowledge, that this obviously means a lot to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be stressing about it. You wouldn't feel anxious about it. You wouldn't hesitate. You know, it means a whole lot, and you want it to be of value. So that's why we, you know, spend all the hours trying to convince ourselves of something that we already know that we can do and we will do. It's just like Christy said, just doing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Nathan, I've been, you know, it's coming your way. Talk to us about your big stepping out in this past year.
Well, it's kind of like a two-part answer. So I was working from home. It's at work. So there's a web show at work that I was a guest on a few times. And I was approached with the idea to become a co-host. So that was an opportunity for me to grow, but I was scared to take it. But I have a friend that it's like, she volunteers me anyway. Her name is Kim. And basically she signed me up and I became a permanent co-host of this show. And I really appreciate it because, you know, she did help me grow in my career, whether she knows it or not. But like I've grown in the past year tremendously. And when it got to January, I was like, okay, well, I want to do more in my career. I was feeling a little bored and things like that. And I'm pretty sure this person doesn't know that I'm about to say this, but I got a career coach, Kaelysia. And she sparked interest in me because like she asked me questions about what I wanted to do. We talked through my reservations about a career. And she kind of gave me the idea like, hey, everyone has fear. Everyone has these reservations, but go for it and jump for it. So one of my biggest takeaways is whenever there's an opportunity, I don't think about it. I say yes. Because if I think about it, I'll say no. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. So empowered coaching is truly a great thing. So reach out to Kaelysia. She helped me.
Love that.
Oh,
I love that.
Wasn't a commercial.
there you go. From the heart endorsement.
It was
I didn't know.
Oh, Kaelysia, come back
All
here.
right. I'm back.
No, she did not pay him for that. Okay. No, that
was
fantastic. That was really
Yeah.
great, Nathan. And that's probably the best thing that we could hear about why a life coach can be, you know, an important thing for people to consider when they're at that kind of stage in their lives. I love what all of y'all are saying, because I think we're all realizing is, yeah, there's a lot of reasons not to try new things. And the only reason to do it is because we realize that there's some fire in us that's saying we should try this. And isn't that the best possible reason to go forward?
Yeah.
It definitely is. And Nathan said something that just resonated with me when he said that I have to just jump in it, because if you give me time to think about it, then that's it. I will talk myself. I've talked myself out of so many things. And you know, it's sad that I let my own, me get out the way. I let my own self get, you know, talk me out of things that I could have accomplished. And, you know, that's okay. That's okay if you've done that in the past. You know, it's never too late. I firmly believe it's never too late to try new things. I don't like the saying on you can still teach an old dog new tricks, because I'm not an old dog, so that's why I don't like that saying. But I feel like, you know, no matter what age you are, it's never too late for you to just take those baby steps, or whatever Kaelysia likes to call them, and just start off just with one thing, one step. And you know, try to motivate yourself to keep going, and I'll have that support system.
Something I was mentioning to y'all before we started the show was in improv. When I did improv, I loved one of the rules of improv. You could never say no to anything that somebody suggested, because if you said no, the action stopped. So instead of saying no or but or anything like that, you had to answer everything yes and, so that it continued. So anything they offered to you, you know, hey, do you want to, let's try such and such? Yes, and so you kept building on it. And I think that's almost like a lesson for life. Anytime you say no and just a straight no, you stop all the action. But the yes and keeps you moving forward and adding on to whatever you're doing. And it's kind of a fun thing to keep in mind.
Right.
I like that.
Great lessons from improv. That was one of my stepping out. Well, actually, that wasn't as much my stepping out as stand-up comedy. The first time I did that, because that was on my 30th birthday. I said, I want to do this. I want to try this. And I lived in Alexandria, but the closest comedy club was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So for my birthday, went down to Baton Rouge to the comedy club down there. They were having an open mic night. At first, I did not get on. And then somehow, miraculously, they let me come on after the main act. And I got to get up there, and I threw my act out there. I came off the stage, and the club manager looked at me and said, "How long were you out there?" I looked at my watch and said, 7 minutes. He said, "You had a good 20-minute routine." I was like, okay, first tip, slow down. So, and from there on, I got started in stand-up comedy. But it was something that I just, I wanted to do. And I realized this, give myself that thing. So then after that, on my birthdays, I would always try to do something unusual and new and try something new. That became my thing.
What a great thing.
Like,
I'm so impressed.
I'm not. I was not that good.
In a book club just doesn't compare to what you just said.
No, I wasn't that good. I was so good in stand-up comedy that I'm not in it anymore, okay?
Like, that's her saying, I said I wanted to be an actress, and I was in a Steven Seagal movie, but I was really bad at it. But you can find it on all platforms. Like, that is awesome.
Yeah,
that is.
When you said that, I was like, I can't not see you doing stand-up. Like, it's so much a part of who you are. It doesn't. Like, I don't see those things being two separate things. It's like, why wouldn't you do it?
I wasn't that good at it back then. I took myself more seriously than I do now. And I think that's one of the things that's important, is starting to realize not taking yourself quite as seriously,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's okay to laugh at yourself.
I love that because, prior to this, I was looking, okay, what are some things that you do to step out of your comfort zone? And what you just said, Christy, don't take yourself too seriously. Like, the fact that you just went up there and did a whole comedy routine, you know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is a long time.
It is. It probably felt like 89.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I would be sweating. I would pass out. And I hope they would think that was a part of the routine. So that is awesome.
And that was a big one for me. And I think I really would have regretted had I never given it a chance. That was one of those things that was always in my mind.
So what was your motivation? Like, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to do something new every time. So obviously you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you just do it.
I do that a lot. I really do. And that's been a great thing for me, is just being willing to embarrass myself by trying things. And, I think that's kind of a healthy way to be, although I have that self-deprecating humor thing going on. I always do that anyway. But really and truly, I think it helps that I want to be silly and try stuff, and I don't care if I look silly the first time trying it. I think that kind of helps a bit.
Yeah, good. I think having that sense of vulnerability, it really helps. You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna do my thing. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Great
point. Because everybody has to have a first time trying something, and nobody's perfect that first time.
I really blame the culture that a lot of us are brought up in, where like no one wants to feel silly. No one wants to be uncomfortable. There's a negative connotation to these things, to fail. Like, we are all programmed that these are all bad things and to avoid them. And if there's anything that will put us in that position, run really, really far away from it and never look back. So we really have to reprogram ourselves to say, I'm okay with looking silly, and you know what? You probably really didn't even look that silly. You probably got a whole bunch of laughs for him to tell you that you could have gone on another 23 minutes, like you probably were doing awesome out there, but to you look silly because it's like, I'm new and I'm not going to be good at this. But it's like, we've programmed ourselves to already think that things are going to go wrong and that wrong is bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like
That's
we
true.
always see the finished versions of people once they get out and do stuff, and we
Oh,
think we're
yeah.
supposed to be like that the first time we try it.
Oh,
Right.
And it doesn't happen
Yes.
that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so
Absolutely.
true. And, it makes me think about, what Kaelysia said in regards to failure and the fear of failure. And, it's something that I learned, through my job. They have a concept that they use about failing forward. And that is something that I'm still embracing.
Mhm.
I'm still embracing that mindset of failing forward. I love that concept where it's okay for you to fail as long as you're moving and learning and growing from that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And to Kaelysia's point, I think, like she said, that's the opposite of how we've been taught or how we've been conditioned just in general. So when you introduce to something new and a new idea, you really have to stop and think, and it's going to take you some time to incorporate it.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
My thing
so
has been
true.
all about like reprogramming myself. So I am a perfectionist. Hi, my name is Kaelysia. I'm a perfectionist. And I really had to convince myself that this perfect moment or that this standard or this bar that I set, like it does not exist. It is something that is unattainable and that I will not be, many people will probably not be able to reach it. And so I really had to stop waiting for the perfect moment. And like you, Chrissy, said, I just needed to just jump in and do it. And not think so much about this is what has to happen before I do this. This is what I need. No, stop it. I had to stop thinking in that way and really figure out, okay, what else do I need to be thinking about besides this perfect me that I need to be before I do something that I really care a lot about.
Mm.
Awesome.
Do you guys think that the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone for small things, eventually you'll be more inclined to try new things and not be so apprehensive about it?
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
like we're not used to
I think
it.
so. I definitely think so because, like I said, I was doing small things. I was reading a paper on live shaking on a webinar, but now I'm like in it. But there's something that I realized was that, okay, if I have an idea to do something and nobody agrees with it or nobody thinks it's a good idea, as long, if it brings me joy, I'll do it because the people who are out there, the people who I need to reach or who want to reach will be there. So there's somebody who has the same idea as you who wants to, let's say you want to start a podcast. There's somebody out there waiting for you and you're out there like, oh, well, my friend don't really agree with that. There's always somebody out there for you. What's for you is for you. You just got to do the work and make that jump.
Amen.
I'm telling myself that right now. So
That's awesome, Nathan, because really,
That
you
was
are so
fantastic.
right. You're
Right.
so right. I mean, and then you're serving as inspiration for other people who are doing the same exact thing, who are saying, oh, I should do it, but my friends think I'd be silly if I did that. Because you're inspiring the next layer of people who will be going on to do these sorts of things.
Mhm.
That's kind of exciting when you think about it, that any little steps we take today, somebody else is going to say, hey, I could do that and I could add this to it.
Yeah.
And so we're starting something. Our little echoes, we're being those little butterfly wings, starting things
Yes.
off.
I say you got to start somewhere. You got
Right. Right.
Yes.
When Nathan said, just jumping off that ledge, I just started thinking about, okay, I can jump off the ledge, but I need a bungee jump cord, like right in the back, and that way I could just dip. And if I don't like it, then it bring me back up. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I imagine you freaking out a whole lot more than what you just described. It was more like, put it back.
I'm not ready.
Exactly.
You're right, Kaelysia. You're right, Kaelysia.
You were
right.
way
Pull me
too
back.
calm when you were saying that.
You're right. Pull me back. Pull me back. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, times that you've tried stepping out of your comfort zone and it didn't work so well. Was there a lesson that you learned? Those are always kind of hard. I've tried things that I thought, oh man, this is it. This is the perfect thing, and then when it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to, I felt like it was me failing not just a project. It felt like a total failure for me. And that took a little bit of working through, but it made me stronger for the next failure. Because, the only time it's really a failure is if we just stop, and I'm not going to do that. So keep trying something different. But yeah, that's kind of hard when you go through something, you think it's the thing, the real thing that you want to do, and you discover it's not what you thought.
I think of one time applying for a job that I was like reading the job description. I was like, okay, this sounds really good. I think I'll be good at it. I'm going to go ahead and apply for it. I'm going to just go ahead and apply for it, see what happens. And I didn't even get called for an interview. And I was like, what happened? Like, it was like just like a shot in the gut. I was like, man, like I thought that was for me. Like, I was like, something I prayed about, like there's going to be this job, it's going to be for me, and you'll know when you see it kind of thing. And I was like, well, what happened? Like, nobody called. I don't know what happened, but and it ended up that the manager ended up calling me afterwards, and I said, I saw your name and I know of you, but your resume didn't really go into detail about what some of your skill set is, but I think you would kind of be good at it, but I wasn't really sure, but there were some stronger candidates. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's some great feedback. So I ended up making some updates to my resume and putting some things on there that I didn't have, that I didn't think I needed to have. And I ended up applying for another job months down the line with another agency, and I ended up getting that particular job. So what I thought was for me wasn't for me at the time. It wasn't a setback, but a setup for something else.
Wow. Great realization.
And how awesome of that for them to give you that feedback, and for like your response is really what set it off in a positive direction. Because you could have been, disgruntled, you could have been angry, but you were like, oh, that's good feedback. And then you like took action to make some changes.
I mean, it was a tough pill to swallow. I mean, I was like, oh.
Yeah, right. And yeah, you got to have that time to be able to go through that. He didn't know what he had.
Right. I was like, clearly you don't know what you're missing here, but I was just like,
you're right.
Okay, that's great. And I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time. And I really did appreciate it. Again, it was a hard pill to swallow.
That was a big deal for him to call.
But it was a great outcome, though. Yeah.
That was definitely the outcome. Like they say, the Lord answers all prayers. Sometimes the answer is no. That could have been your no, leading you on to where you really should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's good stuff.
I mean,
that's like we know stuff.
There's such a great question, and I can't think of anything where I stepped out of my comfort zone. I mean, no.
I have one.
Oh, good.
Great, Nathan.
This was years ago, and it's embarrassing. But my best friend and I were, we wanted to be rappers. So,
oh, cool.
Yes.
So,
you caught me off guard. You caught me off guard.
What is your rap name?
I had an alter ego. My name was Barney Luther, and
I'm sorry, what was that?
That is so awesome.
Yeah, we wanted to be rappers, and we made some songs, and it got the songs are they're on YouTube somewhere, but I don't know where they are. But it got to the point
right now to Barney Luther.
I don't think you could find it. But what I realized was that that didn't work out. But I'm glad I did it. It was a good experience, but I will never do it again. Like that was my lesson. I will never rap again.
That is the best story ever.
Except for
we will be finding that and featuring that on a future episode of Recalculating Route. Oh,
please.
So cool.
Nathan, you've just been coming like way out the woodwork tonight. Like,
I had no idea.
Nathan?
I don't know him. I don't know who he is.
That is so cool. I'm sorry, but that tops stand up. A rapper, tops stand up.
A rapper and a comedian in a group.
Right. We have a comedian and a rapper.
And I'm just joining a book club.
Oh, no. You've done.
I gotta work on my material for next time if I'm invited back. I don't know the way that this is going. We'll see.
No, No, hey, that's what we're talking about, is showing the full range of things that you can step out on. And you're saying book club, but you know that there are things in your past that now you think of as just part of your past, and you don't even realize that those were times that you stepped out of your comfort zone too.
You're right.
We don't give ourselves credit. Once we move past something, it's like, oh, but that was the past. You know, we don't say, wow, I did what? And I mean, think back to school days. Did you ever do anything during school days, y'all? Did you ever, run for an office? Did you ever do something really crazy in school? What about, in your early days when you were just growing up and getting to that stage where you wanted to be somebody? What kind of stuff did you do?
You're right. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that as in running for student council. I was Sandy from Greece. We reenacted me, and I don't know if you guys know Ron Guidry, the baseball player from Louisiana. Well, his son was Danny.
Oh my God.
He was Danny, and I was Sandy.
Oh,
and we're saying you're the one that I want in the gym, microphones and everything.
Oh.
Where are the
and you never stepped out of your comfort zone.
I mean, I didn't really think about that. To me, I don't think that's comfort zone. That's just losing my mind.
And they're so closely related. Comfort zone, insanity. Very, very close. Okay. So yes. So think about it. You have all done things like that in your past, but now you don't give yourself credit for it anymore. And that's a sad but true fact, I believe, for all of us, is that we will remember our failures forever and ever and bring them up over and over. But our victories, as soon as they're past, is like, that was then, Please stop. Give yourself some credit. Sit down. In fact, that's something everybody should do tonight. Should get a piece of paper and write down victories, things that you've accomplished, no matter how small or big. Write as many of them as you can and see what you come up with. See how many you can come up with.
I like that.
That's good.
That would be a fun activity to do tonight. Think how good you'd feel going to saying, oh, I donated to that something. I stopped and helped that person. I did this. I acted silly and made somebody else feel comfortable. Anything that you've done that you realize, wow, that was pretty cool.
I like that.
Not enough paper for all the things that we could probably list out that we completely blocked out.
Forgot about.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
That's true.
I mean, this past weekend, my husband and I are driving down the road. We see some guy trying to push his truck, and he's trying to push it out of the road. And we pull off the road, and not even thinking about it, my husband just automatically runs back there and starts pushing the truck with the guy. And I thought, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. He never thought about it afterwards. He never once mentioned it again. And I just thought of that and went, that was a big deal. He made the choice to do that. And you do those kinds of things all the time. You let somebody in front of you in a line, you don't honk at somebody who cuts you off, things like that. Just the things you don't do are sometimes as important. So maybe taking those moments and giving yourself a little credit for those makes you realize, I have done more than I realize.
So I don't know about this group of people, but I feel like it's easy for me to not be able to think about those things. And so I challenge you that if you are going to do this activity, I'm going to add a little something extra, Christy, if that's all right. But to ask some people around you, close to you, what are some of the things that I've done that you would consider a victory? Because there are just some things that we don't give ourselves enough credit for, like you said, Christy, and we do some some things that are some big deals to other people, and we're just like, well, I should have did that, or that was something that I was supposed, we don't give ourselves enough credit. So I'm thinking that I may not have enough on my list, but if I ask a couple people, they may be able to add to it and bring to memory some things that I just never even thought about.
That's good.
That's a good one.
So y'all work on your list and then come to me, because I have some for each one of you to add to your list. Okay.
I was thinking it too.
Yeah, I love that. Something else that I was reading in regards to, stepping out of your comfort zone, and they said to hang out with risk takers. What do you guys think about that?
The right kind of risk takers, huh?
I would hope so.
Not like you were talking about earlier with the pusher thing, right? I mean, sorry, I had to bring that
I think
back.
those are called criminals, Christy.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Yes. Stupid.
So do you surround yourself with risk takers?
I don't know that I would call them risk takers as much as like people who are where I want to be. And so I see them as like a couple steps ahead, you know, and I'm like, ooh, let me surround myself. Like at the time that I started my business, I knew at least like 2 or 3 other people who were also talking about starting a business and had already went through the process of getting their names and filing and I was like, so that's what they had to do. Ooh, okay. And I mean, they haven't blown up just yet, you know, so it's almost as if it was like, I can relate to them because they're a couple steps ahead and I can see myself there, but they're not too far ahead that I feel like they're so far removed from me. So I think there's some truth in that.
Yeah. Something I have found, if I hang around people who are constantly talking about how bad things are and are not trying anything or just saying, you know, oh, well, you know, there's no reason trying stuff because it's really going to, I will find myself starting to feel like I dropped down to that level.
Ooh,
and it really makes a difference. So staying with people who are at that level or higher that you want to be at, it does change your outlook.
Right.
It does.
When I think about that statement about hanging out, not with necessarily with risk takers, but with people who help you step out of your comfort zone, it takes me back to, I remember one of my supervisors said that you had to go out and network. And anytime you say the N-word, the network word, I'm like, oh no. I start to get butterflies. That's stepping out of my comfort zone. Networking it makes me sweat. I'm sweating now and just thinking about it. And so I don't know if Kaelysia knows this, but in my mind, I had a game plan. I was like, my supervisor said, you have to introduce yourself to one person. And you guys, I mean, I was sweating through my suit, okay? Thinking about, I hadn't even done it yet, just thinking about that one person. So I made a plan. I was like, Kaelysia, she don't mind networking. She likes to network. If I follow her, whoever she introduces herself to, all I have to be like, oh, okay, I'm Kaelysia. Oh, and you? And all I have to do is stick out my hand, smile, and say my name. So I followed you, and just like I had planned, you're like, hi, I'm Kaelysia Cooper. And they were like, hi, I'm so-and-so. And they stuck out their hand, and I'm Kim, nice to meet you. And I was like, yes, I got the one. And I went sit down in the corner. So I do believe in surrounding yourselves with people who help you move out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You went back to the corner?
All right, back to the corner.
And I would dare say this group helps you move out of your comfort zone. Y'all are awesome. This is exactly what we needed. Yes, it was group therapy. And y'all, this is exactly what we're talking about, is being able to have these conversations and feel comfortable about it. Being able to say, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm trying it. Hey, will you support me in it? Will you back me on this? Will you kick me or make me do it? Like Nathan was talking about with Kim. Will you be my pusher? Not that kind. So all of these things, and not thinking that anything you do is small. Marya, I can't wait to see your list because I got some stuff to add to that. So all of these things that we have that we're talking about, please, for the rest of you out there, please make your own list. And, we would love to add to it. Talk to us and let us tell you what sounds wonderful about your list.
Absolutely.
Let's keep building on this. We got to keep helping each other, and that's going to keep helping us all move forward and push that comfort zone a little further. And the more we do that, the better world we make it. Wow. Holy cow. This is stuff like we actually knew what we were talking about. That's scary.
I know.
Right?
I'm like, what? That's great.
Aren't we amazing? I tell you, y'all were invited back. You know that. You got the room number. Just come on back and please let's do some more talking. Think about some topics for next week. I can't afford a therapist, so y'all are it. Okay, so that's a
Coaching's cheaper.
yeah, okay. Get that last commercial in there. Oh, Kaelysia, what is the program you do, by the way? Mention that so people will know about it on LinkedIn.
I do Mind Shift Mondays every Monday on Instagram.
Instagram.
At some point on Monday, it will be there, but
Okay.
it's just all about my personal reflection from the week prior. Again, me working through getting out of my head, because I mean, I haven't arrived anywhere. I'm still working through it, but it's about me trying to transform my mind and help some other people who have similar thinking to shift into a position where they can actually make progress.
Okay.
Love it.
So search for Mind Shift Monday on Instagram for that. Nathan will be looking very closely for your rapping video.
Yes.
And,
I'm about to put on some.
How to make a rap.
I'm gonna find it, Nathan. Like I feel like that's my goal in life.
The
right
files
now,
are destroyed.
Yep. And Marya, I will see you at book club. And
Yes.
And Kim, got any great last words for us?
No, actually,
Okay.
I'm still going on the rapper thing. It's just what I do, right? What I do want to leave everyone with is what, you know, the wise words of Christy when she said, "Don't take yourself so seriously."
Yeah.
You know, we only have one life, and you want to live it and push yourself out of your comfort zone to live your best potential and to live your purpose. So,
Amen.
That's
I can't say anything better than
I like
that,
that.
y'all. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for being with me tonight. Thank you. You are awesome, every one of you. And I hope to see you back here next week, next Wednesday. And all the rest of you out there, I also would like to see you back here next Wednesday, 6 o'clock Central Time. And we'll once again try recalculating our route. Bye.
hi everybody.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Recalculating Route. Join us next Wednesday evening at 6 Central